Hello and welcome to Bradders Grappers episode blank, because I will fill this in at a later date. The only show in town that can't catch wrestle but can catch a wrestling cold. Joining me to relive Monday night at Gorilla is friend of the show and by now a semi-permanent co-host. Good evening, Miles.
Good evening once again.
We're seeing a lot of each other, it feels, and this weekend feels like it's going to be the same. Well, at least on Saturday.
On Saturday.
So, as you can tell, this episode is mainly going to be featuring what happened on Monday night at Catch Pro Wrestling at its new venue at Gorilla. For those that don't know, it's literally facing the O2 Ritz just off Oxford Road in downtown Manchester. Before we get into the show, first off, how are we doing firstly tonight?
Doing good. Not too bad.
Good to hear.
Self.
We could be in for a long night with what happened on this card and other things. So we will quickly try to get through it. But before that, we'll also ask you one question. What did you think of the venue itself?
I'm not sure. Like the lighting, wasn't a fan of the lighting, but like the actual venue space itself, great space. It's a little bit, it's like a bigger bread shed, I feel like.
Yeah. I heard Oggy on Graps and Claps say it's an upgrade on the bread shed. But I think, to be fair, anything compared to the bread shed in terms of size-wise was always going to be an upgrade anyhow. You could say the Deaf Institute, as big as that is, it was still smaller than the bread shed, really, if you look at it that way. But I've been to Gorilla before. Never though, for like a concert or like a gig. I did a meet and greet with William Regal there a few years ago, and I liked the venue itself. So to actually see a wrestling show in there, what it does, I feel, that venue, it leads itself to have more people kind of come in. It now gives Catch more of a place to kind of get more fans in and grow the product. Because I think by the end of the bread shed run, it was almost getting a bit cramped, just due to kind of how small, and there's not a whole lot you could have done. But yeah, I thumbs up for having it at Gorilla. Also, it's a bit easier to travel home as well. You're not having to, well, in my case, you're not having to run near enough to the Apollo and get the bus. I can just easily walk up kind of Whitworth Street and across at Piccadilly and jump on the bus there. But I digress. Let's just get into the matches, because I'm still smiling over this show because it's easily one of my favorite shows I've ever been to. Every match kind of did its job and more so. So we'll move to the opener, which was a tag team match with Tony Wright and Danny Proper taking on Northwest Strong's Keenan Krishna and Chris Ridgway. What was your take on this, Miles?
This was a Very, very fun tag team match. Great storyline going into this match. Got carried on from last show when Tony and Danny got taken out by Keenan and Chris. This was how would you put it? A good bastard versus goody tag team match.
Yeah.
Like, the heels in this match were on fine form. Pretty much isolating Tony for I'd say good 85% of the match. I enjoyed Chris's leg work in this match. You've seen a lot of kicks to the leg because Augie mentioned it on his podcast. He noticed the leg work. I enjoyed Chris's dragon screws. They were perfect. They were on point.
I think it's one of those things with Ridgeway. You almost feel a bit shortchanged if he doesn't pull the dragon screw out from somewhere in this match. But we also saw Ridgeway getting a bit high flying, doing a leap over the top rope, and I think it was hitting Tony. It might have been Danny. I can't remember fully. But this was a really, really good opener. I know a couple said it was a bit of a long opener. However, because of what had been going on, I think this was needed to have this go on quite a bit, because you had Writing Krishna, which has kind of bubbled even going back to the Hostile tournament where this all kind of kicked off from. Proper and Ridgeway got into it on the last show. And so now having kind of all four elements put together, it really made for a really fun bout. And then at the end of this, or towards the back end of the contest, the closing stages, we saw the third member of Northwest Strong coming out, that being Teddy Ray. And I think with Krishna's obviously the rule breaker, Ridgeway feels very much like he's not fully that way, but he's kind of like an in-betweener, if you like. And Teddy Ray has always felt like the fan favourite. The best way I can describe Northwest Strong at that point in time was that meme of the dragons with the three heads, where you've got two of them kind of looking all business and everything, and one that's just pulling goofy faces. And I could put that one down as Teddy Ray, to be fair, because he didn't seem on the same page as them. But of course, when we get to the end of this match, we find out that Northwest Strong are very much all on the same page. Again, really fun opener. Teddy Ray comes out, interferes, knocking Danny Proper off the apron. Tony Wright looks at Teddy Ray in almost despair at why he's come out on what he's done. This all concludes with Keenan Krishna and Chris Ridgeway going to hit a total elimination style move, as I've put it, much like Kronos and Perry Saturn used to hit in ECW as the Eliminators. The first attempt did not fully go to plan. However, they did it a second time, because the first time had kind of like half the effect, but hitting it fully had maximum effect, which sees Tony Wright staying down for the 1, 2, 3. Northwest Strong are your winners. Again, really fun match, really solid opener, and it really did set the tone for what we were going to get for the rest of this show. Spoiler, it was an absolute banger of a show. Match number 2, and I'm going to say this near enough for every match. I love this match a lot. And it saw Henry Faust taking on Dec McCarthy. What was your view on this one?
Jesus Christ, this match went hard. Oh, like from the first minute, the chop Henry Faust did to Dec, and it just split his chest open. And, like the very first chop, I was just like, this is where we're going for the whole show. Like,
Yeah.
Henry Faust is a guy that personally I've not seen too much of. I think I've seen 1, maybe 2 of his matches live. But yeah, this dude's awesome. Like, I love Henry Faust. He's got a great moveset, and the fact that he was going up against the bigger guy in Big Dec, and he was like fully into the match. Like, at points I thought Declan was going to lose. Like, he had Declan on the ropes. Like, he was just all over him. Like, just yeah.
It made me love the start of it. Everyone just cheered for Henry, and then Faust just doing like a little jig to himself, and then about 5 seconds later, just performs an absolute stiff open hand chop to Dec McCarthy's chest, and from then on, you knew, oh, shit's going down. To which Henry Faust is a big fan of Japanese wrestling and strong style. Dec McCarthy is great at technical wrestling, but he's equally good at brawling. So this, when you look at it, it goes hand in hand. It's with Dec style and Henry style. It's almost strong style as it is anyhow. But Faust with his kind of educated feet, McCarthy who would use more the technical side of things. And I mean, Faust's chops to Dec, and then his penalty kick on the outside to McCarthy, who it looked like it caught him flush in the jaw on one of the pictures I took. And you could hear normally when you hear a kick on the outside, it doesn't sound kind of like that loud, but you could hear this quite loud. And then Dec replied with huge uppercuts, showing kind of all his technical moves. Faust almost relied on his feet to do all the talking, as I thought kicks were Henry's friend. McCarthy always seemed to have an ace up his sleeve. Faust then hits almost like a Michinoku driver on Dec, which looked an awkward landing for Dec. Gets a 2 count from it, just Henry. And in the end, it sees McCarthy picking up the victory. I did write what the finish is called, and I can never remember.
I think I remember, but I don't know if it's 100%. Morgan's call, or is it Morrigan's call? It's along them lines. Declan, if you're listening, I apologise. Don't beat me up. It's one of them ones.
I've literally spent all the last 3 hours scrolling back all videos to try and find move names, and no commentator mentions. I actually wrote a piece last year where I constantly wrote it, and I can't get into the login, so I can't find it. But what you've said is one of them. So again, apologies. We we apologize. Please don't kill us. But Dec wins, Really, really enjoyable contest. I'm interested to see now where we kind of go with both these men. Really hoping Faust comes back, because I've seen Faust a few times now, mostly when I've been to watch North Wrestling. The first time I saw Faust, I didn't kind of get him too much. Wasn't sure what he was about. The more I've seen him, the more I've grown to just like love his style and love watching him in the ring. So hopefully, if Catcher are watching this or listening, please get Henry on more. And I'll leave it at that. Match number 3, Troy Ryan, Brady Phillips. Miles.
Beef. Beef and more beef. The battle of the shredded, shall we say.
Yeah.
Which man has the bigger abs? That's a question for you. Who has the bigger abs? Troy Ryan or Brady Phillips?
Oh. See, this is difficult to answer, because I think Ryan's got more leaner, and I think Phillips is filled out a bit more with kind of like bulk and muscle. So I'd say equally, because I think they're both going for different. I think Ryan's trying to slim down almost in a kind of like a cruiserweight, and Phillips is just a heavyweight, but he's both are in great shape. You can't take that away from either. But I love the first notes I've got. It's just basically meaty chops. Meaty.
Sounds like the match.
I mean, we started off with both of them just trying to just chop as much meat as they could. I will say this though, the first few chops in this match, Brady had the advantage well and truly. It was like when Ryan chopped, they didn't make much of a sound. When Brady done the first few, dear God, they reverberated around Gorilla. And then later on, Ryan then began to do his own chops, and they were equally as loud. Perhaps even better, because they were right on the far end on the actual stage at Gorilla. The match itself, as notes, Brady dominates for a large part of it, hitting some really vicious lariats, forearms across the face of Ryan, German suplexes, amazing strength at one point when he was going to do a power bomb, lost his grip momentarily, and to have the size of Troy Ryan and then still have the composure to regain control and then actually hit the power bomb. I mean, hitting a power bomb on Ryan is impressive, but to almost drop him, because obviously kind of like sweat and everything, to regain control and then hit him, that was arguably one of the best moves of the night from that standpoint. The fight then moves to the outside. Ryan sees a wall whose eyes light up massively, especially with the crowd chanting "wall." Almost kind of like having Vietnam flashbacks of Atomic doing it. So Ryan kind of throws Brady into the wall twice. At one point, I thought he was going to go through the wall due to how it just moved. But as they get back into the ring, Troy hits a standing Frankensteiner, which sounds impressive enough. But with Brady being on the top rope and Troy kind of running, then kind of doing a stopping and then hitting the Frankensteiner makes it all the more impressive. Then does these kind of big body check spot. Then I've put Wall in the wrong place. The finish of the match, Ryan and Phillips get back into the ring. Greenwood gets knocked off the apron. This allows Phillips to look round, see Greenwood's not looking, kicks Troy in the balls, hits his. I've put pump handle spike. Again, I was trying to find what the move's called, but I cannot find it anywhere. So apologies, Brady. Phillips gets the win with the 1, 2, 3. Really, really fun match. And I believe Myles has a point.
This finish, it actually got me. I didn't think it was like the planned finish because it just looked like an actual accident, like Greenwood when he was trying to get into the ring and then Brady's going for like the lariat and then he's like knocked him off the apron like via the rope. So it looked like an actual accident where I was like, was that the intended finish? And after seeing Brady kick Troy in the balls, yeah, good finish. It actually got me good.
I'll say this for Catch. There are a couple of incidents on this show where you genuinely kind of thought to yourself, is this planned? Is this actually happening, or what's going on? That was one of them. I'll ask your take on this because what's your take on Brady Phillips or character wise?
I enjoy Brady Phillips' character. He's just this cold, evil, just gives no shit, just will. If he doesn't like you, if he's got an issue with you, he will beat the piss out of you. But that is just Brady to a T. I've seen Brady quite a few times from like my very first indie show. Anytime I see Brady Phillips, he's just such a fantastic heel.
Yeah.
I could not see Brady working face. I do not envisage Brady Phillips as a face. Like, it just doesn't work. He's probably a good face. Like, I've not seen Brady face, but he's just this cold bastard as a heel, and I love it.
I've only seen Phillips a very select few times. Kind of first saw him in South Pro, then saw him at kind of GPW, and now at Catch. Which, watching Phillips, if I was now given like name your top 5 heels on shows you've been to, I would easily put Brady Phillips in the top 3. Easily. Because he's that good. I will bring up this. It's a slightly funny story. John that we know that's always wears a Bolton shirt and attends kind of Catch shows. We'll do the odd Futureshock show. We have this ongoing laugh that every time Brady Phillips comes out, that John will always be the first person to kind of like meet Brady and have Phillips just talking trash to him, bad-mouthing him. On this occasion, when Phillips came out, John kind of walked towards the front, expecting the abuse. Brady, however, decided to have a go at someone else. And then John came up to me afterwards and went, new venue means it's got to be someone else he has to have a go at now. He went, oh, well, I enjoyed the job while I had it, which did make me laugh. Yeah, this was a really fun match. I loved watching Phillips. Ryan as a single star. I think more people are now getting to see the Ryan I've seen on quite a fair few shows now, because I think a lot still see him as a tag wrestler because they haven't saw much of his single stuff. If you've seen him in Salford and kind of what LWF stuff he's done, he has been really fun to watch, especially being the rule breaker on those shows. So seeing him now becoming more of a single star, it's interesting what he can do moving forward now. Because there's a lot of potential in what he can do as a singles participant. So there's a lot of different avenues he can go down, which I'm excited to see what happens in the coming months and years. We finish the first half with the GMAC Championship, with Sam Bailey challenging Big T Justice. What were your thoughts on this encounter?
Again, another solid match. Great title defense for Big T. Sam Bailey coming in on his debut in Catch Pro, giving Big T a solid match with some suspect tactics, shall we say. Getting his trainees involved, which got a little chant of future shit. Didn't fully get over, but a few of us were chanting future shit.
Bless you for trying, though. Again, this. Well, I'll say the only slight nitpickety I'll say on this, and I have heard a couple say the same thing, but at the same time, does not take away from this match whatsoever. So we start off with Sam slapping Big T in the back of the head. T then grabs hold of Bailey, throws him into the corner, chops him. However, Bailey was wearing a chest protector which felt very D'Lo Brown from back in the Attitude era. There were a few people were shouting Timu Shield. So I think that kind of gauges where people's up-to-date knowledge is. As soon as I saw him, I thought D'Lo Brown, but that just proves I'm old. We then saw T rip off that chest protector. Ideally, I felt he should have kept this on a bit longer at least. Because I think the longer it stayed on, when it finally came off and he would do like the chop, I think that would have been got a better or bigger cheer than it did when he actually ripped it off. Again, just my take on it. T then chops ref Stu Davis. This leads to Bailey going on the outside, where he has members of the Futureshock PC. Notable names were Dr. Proctor and Kong, with a couple of others. They then put a beat down on Big T. That was until he then fought back, taking them all down. T gets back into the ring with the referee still face down. Bailey then, from somewhere, has a police baton but I suppose that ties in with him having a kind of like the flat jacket on. Uses it on the knee of Big T, then pretty much does what any good wrestler would do, focuses in on that injured body part. He then hits a chop on Bailey, throws Bailey with multiple Irish whips and avalanche splashes in the corner. Bailey then hits a hidden blade on Big T, with the champion in Big T Justice landing a huge spinning Bossman slam, as I've put, to retain the title. One massive thing I will say about this show, and I love Catch Pro for doing it, because you don't get it on every show. When people worked on a body part, the ones that were having holds applied to it actually made out that they were struggling with it. And it wasn't a case of working on, say for instance, Big T having his leg worked on. It wasn't a case of he spends 90% of the match getting his leg worked on, and then he's doing springboard planches and all kind of like running moves when you've literally just had your leg smashed to bits and everything. It is one of my biggest bugbears watching shows where body parts get worked on and then the wrestlers that have that limb particularly worked on completely forgot that's what they've had done to it, and it's almost like they've fully healed. It's like the Wolverine. So big thumbs up, because it actually makes it feel more realistic and actually keeps to, if you work on something, they should be in trouble. If you work on the leg, they shouldn't be able to walk because you've been focusing on it too long. So that's just one of my little rants I thought I'd say on that, because I got into not an argument, but I got into a massive debate with someone over this. We both came to the same appreciation of when wrestlers actually choose to kind of, I don't want to use the term, but I suppose I have to on this. They actually have to sell like the injury that they've got, and they actually remember that, oh yeah, I have an injured body part that I will have to kind of sell and make out I am injured with it. Yeah, I don't know if you agree with that, but I'm just going off on a rant there.
Yeah, no, I agree with it. Like, you're getting like your arm injured and your leg injured, and then next minute you're pulling like a 450 moonsault like out your ass. Like, yeah, okay.
I know Joe said it last week of you have to disbelieve certain things. I don't mind having my imagination and disbelieving things, but I want them to make sense. That's all I want. Anyway, we then went for the interval, and immediately coming back from the interval, we had a brawl at ringside. I was chatting to Oggy at this particular point, because Mark Adams had just got back into the ring, welcomed everyone back to the second half, and out the corner of my eye, I saw two people fighting. Due to the lights as well, that were kind of blinding us for a good chunk, I didn't know it was Steen and Ian Skinner. I thought it was actually two fans fighting to begin with. Obviously, it was Aitonsteen and Ian Skinner, where Skinner, I believe, he has a restraining order against Steen, I believe, because originally the plan it was supposed to be Steen and Skinner for this. Oh, I should also mention, which I haven't done, this was the 6th anniversary show for Catch. I forgot to start with that. So many congratulations on your anniversary. But yes, Steen and Skinner should have been one of the matches on this card. That then changed, and the matches were going to be Aitonsteen versus Vucic and Ian Skinner against Kevin Lloyd. However, due to Steen and Skinner fighting and having a brawl at ringside and in the ring, it saw Skinner choking Steen with his own kind of like dog chain that was around Steen's neck. Mark Adams and the referees all try and break it up and stop it. Eventually, they managed to separate the two. James Greenwood then grabs the microphone and informs an angry and blooded-nosed Steen that he is suspended for the rest of the night. Ian finds this hilarious, and while he's laughing, Greenwood says, "I don't know what you're laughing at, Skinner, because you're suspended as well tonight." Which then leads to Steen challenging Ian Skinner to a dog collar match next month, calling Skinner a bitch, and Steen saying he's the original bitch. So Skinner saying, "I don't particularly want to do a dog collar match." Greenwood then informs us that the Catch Pro Athletic Commissioner in Tom Bowler informs Greenwood in his earpiece that the match has been booked and the next Catch Pro Wrestling show will feature Ian Skinner, Aitonsteen in a dog collar match. What's your take on that?
I'm looking forward to this match because I've not seen Skinner in a proper like hardcore match. I know he's been doing death matches recently, and he's like started going down more of the hardcore route. I know Aiton loves anything hardcore and anything like any like sicko matches Aiton loves. So yeah, this is going to be one to look out for, to see how they work in a dog collar match and like what stuff they're actually going to be able to do with the venue, what weapons, if they're going to bring any weapons to the match, or is it just going to be a straightforward just dog collar match with no weapons? Like, I'm looking forward to what they get up to.
This, as early as it is in the year, this has potential to be the best underrated match of the year that we might see. Because even though we know they can both go and we know what they can do, when it's kind of like a stipulation match, and especially a dog collar match, it's going to be interesting to see what they can do and what they can kind of bring out. But as soon as they kind of announced a dog collar match, I think everyone that was there was instantly just rubbing their hands, thinking, "Oh, we're on to a good thing here now." One of the best lines I heard from someone that was stood close by when you had Steen and Skinner fighting, there was a female fan behind that was saying, "Is this part of the show, or are they actually shoot fighting?" I'll be honest. Watching it, I think I went from thinking, "Oh, this is storyline," but some of the actual blows looked very, very stiff, and did even have me questioning, thinking, "Oh, are they actually shooting properly here for a brief time?" Because they were not holding anything back on those punches and kicks. I'll tell you now. So all those kind of like blows they were doing to each other, and then announcing a dog collar match, I think definitely had a lot more interest going into that contest. But we look forward to it happening. Match number 5, Kevin Lloyd, or shall we say, sexy Kevin Lloyd, taking on Vucic. This was a technical masterclass. I'll let you speak on this.
Yeah, like you said, technical masterclass. Can't believe the announced Kev Lloyd from Wigan, though. Warrington, catch management. Anyway, my hometown guy, Kev Lloyd. Yeah, Kev Lloyd is one of these guys where his wrestling style, it literally just fits him perfectly, and like you can tell he is a veteran of the game. Like every move, every lock up, every hold, every submission Kev Lloyd does, it just looks like it's hurting his opponent. Like this guy is the perfect technical wrestler. Like if you want to get into technical wrestling and like that's your style, just go look up Kevin Lloyd matches, because he's the perfect example of a technical wrestler.
Also, you couldn't have put him in a better match with Vucic, who equally any hold he puts on looks like it hurts as hell as well. And I've put down effective. I've almost gone Dean Malenko kind of WCW thunder rant here. Counter for counter, hold for hold, move for move. Neither man gave ground. It was a technical battle. I will say one thing though, on you bringing up the Warrington Wigan thing, because he is associated with the Snake Pit, which is mainly Wigan. I think that is why they've gone that route. So he probably still keeps his Warrington hometown. However, I think when it comes to wanting to be even more showing off his wrestling skills, mentioning the Snake Pit, I think just has a bit more edge on Warrington, personally. But the match itself, Lloyd hits a beautiful sit-down powerbomb. Vucic hits some of the most aggressive moves I've seen him put on anyone during this contest. Does a lot of stomps to the head of Kev while he's kind of face down. Ends up with him putting on it's like a Boston Crab, but kind of crosses the legs. Again, one of those moves I'm trying to find the names out of, and I'm in the process of trying to do it. I should really just ask. But one thing, and again with this match of counter wrestling, when one of them put a hold on that looked agonizing and painful to watch, they always seem to be able to counter that particular move for an equally more devastating technical hold themselves. Because I think there's one where Lloyd has Vucic in a hold, and then Vucic reverses it into a dragon sleeper. And then Lloyd kind of flips over, and I think then puts Vucic in a dragon sleeper. It was just, I mean, if you love technical wrestling, this was easily one of the best matches to watch on a technical standpoint. I am probably more of a fan of technical wrestling than high flying these days. So this was kind of right up my alley. As I say, Vucic wins. Really good match for both men. Again, interesting to see where we go with both these now. Again, I would not be against a rematch with these two either. I think you could arguably do some more technical wrestling. Maybe like an Iron Man match or something like that with these two.
Or even just a simple submission match.
Yeah. Because I think with these two, I think it felt like it was just the tip of the iceberg with them two in what they could do. But we'll see what happens down the road. Your penultimate match of the night was for the Catch Pro title, as the two Scots in Scotty Rock, the champion, defended his title against the number one contender, Scott Oberman. Myles, I will let you dissect this match before I give you my thoughts.
There's quite a lot to dissect in this match. It was a tough match to watch. It was like you couldn't actually know who was going to win half the match. Like when you're watching it, was like it was a brilliant match. Like both these guys work well together. I don't know how many times they've wrestled each other in the past, or if they've actually wrestled each other before. But if that's like the first time, like they've actually went one-on-one together, it was a very, very good match. Like Scotty Rock going pretty much like 110 miles per hour, doing a lot of like high risk moves. I think he dove out into the crowd like 2-3 times, maybe.
Definitely twice.
Twice. He had Oberman in the front row in the chairs and just like beating the crap out of him on the chairs. Yeah, I think looking back on it now, I think Scotty Rock going that fast and like the way he was working the match, maybe I should have like realized he's doing this much is going to cost him the match, because Scott was working like I felt like Scott was working a lot slower compared to the way he usually works. Like he was very slow in all of his moves like that he was doing. Like he wasn't hitting them with as much pace and as much speed as Scotty Rock.
I actually think the opposite. I think Scotty was actually working. Oh, sorry, I'll rephrase that. I'll say Scott, because the Scotty Rock and Scott Oberman. I think Scott was actually working quicker than normal, because it was almost like he was keeping up with Rock, whereas Oberman is always very slow, methodical, and will kind of like try to tear down piece by piece slowly. You can't really do that with Rock. Rock is a fast cat. But at the same time, a couple of moves that Rock did. The dive through the ropes to hit Oberman. The more impressive one was the springboard off the top rope that just about hit Scott. I think that even surprised himself and how far he actually went, because Oberman looked quite a fair distance back and he still nearly missed him. Part of when Rock had Oberman set up in the chairs and told the crowd to hold him, and Scott just telling the crowd, "I'll kill you all," while he's being held back and chopped, was quite a funny moment. Oberman in this was, I think, always looking for that one opportunistic kind of moment in the match. I think when he spotted that moment, he'd leap on it. Which he kind of did when he hit the Spirit of the Blues and got a 2 count. But again, we make this point of when he hits the Spirit of the Blues, he has to kind of fully do a twist and hit it for it to really have any devastating effect. Otherwise, it doesn't seem to do much. But then hitting, again, as you said, Scotty Rock going kind of like a mile a minute, nearly hitting the referee, which then led to Oberman hitting Ride the Lightning, which ended up winning the title, if I recall. I think that kind of proved that being opportunistic and hitting at the right point proved to be the key thing in this match, really, for Oberman. The match itself, it was a great title match. You really did not know where this kind of contest was going. At one point, you thought Oberman was going to win it. Then it kind of swung back to Rock. And then it was very much on like a knife edge for the majority of the contest. That was until kind of like Oberman hit that Ride the Lightning. As a title match, I thought it did everything it had to. Nothing negative on it. It was a really fun contest. And now we have a new catch champion. And it's going to be interesting to see where Oberman takes this title now. Because if he can do what he did at Atomic for this title and make it as important as any other title in the Northwest, I think Catch have definitely struck upon gold. Which brings us to your main event of the evening, and was for the Catch Women's Championship. As Lily Winter faced Lucy Sky, where the stipulation, if Lily did not defeat Lucy, then she would go back to becoming a ring announcer at Catch. What were your thoughts on this contest, or how did you see things?
I seen the way the match was unfolding. I thought Lucy Sky was going to retain, because the way, like, had Lucy belt in the match, like how she kept getting ever so close to putting the 3 count onto Lily. I thought, like, the amount of like near falls Lucy had on Lily, I'm surprised she didn't get the pinfall. Like, the 2C Sky chant, that chant was just over all match long, and it was just like it was getting to Lucy. She was getting so annoyed.
I think the first time I heard that was, oh God, I think it was the double header at Futureshock last year. I think, trying to remember what show it was. Back at the Union, because it was the same people that were doing the chant on Monday night that were performing it at Futureshock. And on that occasion, it was like a slow burner, and it did the same again. To which you did have Oggy at one point come up. I did hear him come up to you, and he went, Myles, you know your shit. He went, what's all this 2C Sky about? To which I did enjoy your explanation on it. But it's just one of those little fun things that fans can do, that when they come out with a chant and it's not overkill and it doesn't ruin the match. If anything, it kind of helps the match as well. Which can't be, or the same can't be said for something that happened at Tidal, which I will come to on a different podcast. But the match started originally. I want to say it was a callback to an earlier one, when Lily Winter should have had the title originally, and chose that she wanted to actually fight for the title as opposed to kind of wanting it to be handed to her. And if I remember right, I think Lucy hit her then with the title belt, or hit her with something before the match and picked up the victory. So if I'm remembering that's a good callback to this. But Lucy Sky nails Lily with the title belt. Greenwood comes up to Lucy and just say, "What you doing? What you doing?" Sky in that Wigan accent just shouting, "Ring the bell! Ring the bell now! Ring the bell now!" Greenwood does not want to do it. Says to Lily, "Are you okay to continue?" Winter says, "Yes, I'm fine." Gets hit with a crushing spear off Lucy Sky. Lucy thinks she's won it there and then. Lily kicks out. Sky is in total control, really, for the majority of this contest. I'd probably say about 80% of it. Lily continues to kind of survive and fight in this. Lily then thinks she's won the title when she hits a partial cold shoulder, but Lucy just gets her foot on the ropes before the 3 count. Lucy's kind of had enough of, as you say, the fans chanting 2C Sky to her, which definitely was getting to her. She could not put Lily away. Every time she tried to do something, Winter would not stay down. Sky grabs the women's title. Greenwood stops her, has them both kind of fighting over the belt. Eventually, Winter spots Sky being distracted, hits the frostbite, which is effectively the skull-crushing finale, for those that do not know. Then hits the cold shoulder and gets the 1-2-3 to become the new Catch Women's Champion, to a rather loud pop from the crowd. A very fitting end to a Catch anniversary show, having someone that's in truth, a Catch regular, that's fought from ring announcer through the card and now is champion of that promotion. If this was like of a WWE or AEW standard, when kind of Lily poses on the middle rope with the belt lofted up, you would have fireworks going off just to signify kind of like how big this was. It has to be said, this was a really good women's title match. Despite it being almost one-sided, but again, I think that kind of way helped as well because of what was at stake. Lily, if she lost, would have been gone back down to being a ring announcer. So it felt very much like this was a case of Lily having to fight through adversity, staying in the contest, and then when she got a chance to kind of put Lucy away, she did. So while most of the highlights you'll see feels like it was very much one-sided, it was, but I think this was superb in how it all came together. And with that, it worked so beautifully. And that's why it was one of many great matches on this card. Honest, I've said it before, kind of wrapping up this particular portion of the show. What were your final thoughts across the whole thing?
It was a great way to welcome Catch Pro to the new venue. It was a good show from start to finish. Not one bad match, no bad moments throughout the show. Crowd was on fire. It was a great show.
Yeah.
Good way to start the year.
It's easily one of the best shows I've been to. Though in truth, I've only really started going since like 2023. But from across all the shows I've been to, there's never really been a show I've been to where from top to bottom, every match is hit. Even when there's been a promo which could have potentially let it down. Even that build-up and promo with Steen and Skinner was still on point. Everything they went for on Monday night hit. And you can't say that about many shows. I don't even think you could say that for like a Progress or like a Rev Pro show, in truth. But everything on this night, I suppose they kind of went into it, going to a new venue and wanting to just hit the ground running and make it an even more special occasion than, apart from it also being their 6th anniversary show as well. Everything on this show just hit magnificently and would get about 5 chef kisses on how well everything just kind of like turned out. And it did leave you kind of looking forward for like when the next show actually happens, because at the time of recording, nothing has been announced as to kind of like when the next show is for Catch Pro. I want to say it might be like April, maybe back end of March. Who knows? But yeah, I genuinely can't wait for that next show to happen.
Hello, I'm Jay Sherman, and this is Coming Attractions.
And this coming weekend, we have 3, technically 4 big shows happening in the Northwest. On Saturday, we have attention turning to Liverpool and Hangar 34, where TNT hold 2 particular shows. One being the Ignition Rumble show, where the card, as I have it, is Ian Skinner versus Denzel Mack, Joe Rage versus Bullet, Holly Barlow taking on Sky Smithson. A really match that I'm looking forward to see is for the TNT Ignition title, Luke Jacobs taking on Critchy. I feel we may get shenanigans in that. We shall see. And concluding the show is a 20-person Ignition Rumble match, which 'tis Rumble season, and I think if you're a wrestling fan, whenever you hear like a Rumble, you already get giddy because it is one of the most fascinating and fun almost stipulation matches there are. So we will see what we shall see. Meanwhile, later that evening, we have Merseyside Massacre, where the TNT Ultra X title will be defended, with Shane Monet defending against Tom Felwell, Judas Gray, and Scotty Rourke. That has a potential to be one of the standout matches of the day, not necessarily the show itself. We have, for the tag team titles, a Monsters Ball encounter with the Temple of Malum, that being Isaac North and Rob Drake, as they take on Benjamin Harland and Jack Knudsen in Act 2. So we'll see if the Temple of Malum are on the same page, because the last time we saw them, they were not particularly on the same page, but we'll see if they can put their differences to one side and become one again. This is one match I am looking forward to for different reasons. Leonardo Darwin taking on Session Moff Martina. I'm extremely looking forward to Darwin's entrance, because I'm really interested to see what they come up with for their entrance on this occasion, because the last couple that they've come out with has been interesting, shall we say. Hasn't beat the YMCA yet, but we'll see what Darwin comes up with. We'll also see another match that I'm looking forward. Actually, there's a lot of matches I'm looking forward to on this. Nightshade taking on Lucy Sky, which will be an absolute banger with these two ladies. Emerson Jane and Rain Leverkusen. I mean, the card just can't get better, can it? I mean, it can, and it will try to, with the TNT World title. Connor Mills looking to end the ridiculous reign that has been the reign of greatness in Tate Mayfair's. In a word, Miles, does Tate retain? Yes or no?
Yes.
There we have it. I'll ask you, because we'll be there across all those matches, or unless you want to pick one from each show. Which one are you looking forward to the most?
There's two matches to me that stand out, maybe three. So, Critchy versus Luke Jacobs. I can't wait for that match. That match is going to be so much fun. Like, to finally get to see Critchy go 1-on-1 with Jacobs. Yeah, this match is going to be a good one. And Temple of Malum versus Act 2, because it's the Monsters Ball stipulation. This is one of my favourite stipulated matches, so I'm looking forward to see what they bring into Monsters Ball. We have to see some barbed wire. We need the thumbtacks, and we need Janice.
I'm wondering if Janice will make an appearance. If not Janice, it might be the British equivalent.
What would the British equivalent be?
Jean.
Jean
or Jeffrey, depends. I mean, there's a lot in Ignition that I'm quite looking forward to be fair. Mac, who we saw back last September against Tommy Tanner. I've seen Mac a couple of times now, and he's just got better every time I've seen him. Skinner, I imagine the locals will be very complimentary towards Mr. Skinner come Saturday. While he kind of holds his nose in and avoid a Pinocchio nose coming out, because we both know that ain't happening. It's going to be interesting to see Joe Rage and Bullet, because you don't know a whole lot about Joe Rage. So that's going to be an interesting one. Holly and Sky, I can imagine, is going to be just a bundle of fun, but equally going to be hard hitting, because they both have the same characteristics of they can be both funny, but at the same time they can be absolute ass kickers when they have to be. Jacobs and Critchy, that's just going to slap. Rumble match is always an interesting kind of match to watch anyhow. So that's going to be fun. The Ultra X title, again, could be a potential show stealer. Monsters Ball, again, we've already spoke about. Darwin and Moth, that could be a absolute cracker, if potentially very chaotic and fun for different reasons. Nightshade and Sky are just going to beat the shit out of each other. I mean, let's be honest, that's all that's going to happen. Emerson Jane and Rain Leverkusen. Rain and Jane equally going to be the same as Nightshade and Sky, just going to beat the hell out of each other. Mills and Mayfairs. I don't see Mills taking the title from Tate. But again, I sense shenanigans. But overall, that entire day in Liverpool is going to be so much fun. Seeing a lot of friends that I don't see often as well. So will be good to see them. Also on Saturday night over in Morecambe, we have OPW Odyssey Pro Wrestling Overboard at the Morecambe Alhambra Theatre. Four matches and a rumble. So we have Alexander Gray versus Craig Collins for the Morecambe Bay Championship. We have the Viral Connection, the VC, taking on mystery opponents, maybe for the tag titles. Does not stress that, but you never know. We have for the Women's Championship a Falls Count Anywhere match where Leah Raven will defend and look to break the longest streak in British wrestling for a female champion, as she goes one-on-one with the person who she almost broke the arm of in Lana Austin. However, there is a stipulation for this. So if Lana loses, then she can never challenge for the OPW Women's Championship as long as Leah Raven is the champion. On the men's side of things, for the Odyssey Heavyweight Championship, Rick Marcus will defend his title against that man, Joey Hayes, and that should be a fascinating title match over in Morecambe. However, the final match on the card is the Overboard Rumble. Looking at some of the names down, Teddy Ray, Nightmare, RPD, Decker, Troy Ryan, Nate Reese, and a few traditional faces that you'll see on OPW shows. But that, what I've just named there, that is going to be an exciting rumble. RPD, I believe, said at the end of the last show that he will win it and will set up a match with Rick Marcus. So we will see if RPD's boastful premonition comes to fruition, if that's even a word. So yes, that is what you good folks in Morecambe will be having on Saturday night. But moving to Sunday, both starting at the, well, actually they're not starting at the same time. The earlier show is at Stockport Guildhall. Futureshock Wrestling presents Lotto Thunder 2026, where no one knows who's going to face each other. So it's a blind tournament, effectively. So the 8 participants are as follows: Pele, Gorgon, Tom McCall, which I'm interested to see how he does in this, Danny Hope, Najee, Josh Easy, HT Drake, and last but by no means least, Dynamite Lee. So it's 4 qualifying matches with winners advancing to the, well, to, it will be 2 semi-finals, I imagine, because it's normally how they do it, with the grand final to determine who will get a title shot. Originally, I had Najee as the odds-on favourite for this. However, I think we might see Pele taking this one home, personally. What's your takes on who might win it? From the names you've heard.
From the names I've heard, I think it's between, I'll say Dynamite Lee and Danny Hope.
Interesting. But we'll see what happens on Sunday. However, there are still 2 more matches on this card. One being the 6-man tag match with Troy Ryan and Slambulance, that being Slam Johnson and Dr. Proctor, as they take on Deck McCarthy, Kong, and Aziz. So this is, in a sense, a prelude to, I can't remember when the next Hangover show is at the Fairfield, but it will contest Deck McCarthy against Slam or Henry VIII, whichever they decide to go down. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this, because they do still have the For the Love of Futureshock show to come later in the month, so they can do a bit more of a build up there. I don't think they will, because normally shows at Bowlers, they almost tend to be their own little kind of show themselves. However, one match that I am looking forward to is for the women's title, and sees Holly Barlow putting up her women's title up against a debutante to Futureshock in Saxa, who seems to be getting around all over the place, it feels, in recent times. She seems dotted sort of like here, there, and everywhere, which is great to see. I haven't seen Saxa too much. I have a feeling you will have seen her far more than I have.
Yeah, I've seen her a fair few times. Great addition to Futureshock. This is a match I was looking forward to, but sadly I won't be there on Sunday. But it'll be interesting to see how quickly she gets over with a Futureshock audience. I don't know if many people are fully aware of her, but whoever's in attendance, you're in for a treat.
Because I mean, it's not necessarily the best thing to be remembered about. Or maybe it is. But when I think of Saxa now, I just think of Big T chopping her.
Yeah.
It was one of the most viral clips I think I saw of like the back end last year. I think everyone kind of like got a laugh out of it. I think Sax has even joked about it as well, but every time I watch that video and I hear the noise it made, it was bloody brutal. It has to be said. Also on Sunday, and completing near enough this podcast, we take a trip to Wigan at the Monaco Theatre, or the Monaco at least, for Grand Pro Wrestling's Back with a Bang. The card itself is stacked. And originally I was going to go to this, but, funds. So the card itself, so we have set to appear, it says, is Jack Johnson, who lost the GPW British title in a triple threat match to Sonna Durson and Jack Bandicoot on the last show. He will be there. Matt Brooks and also the Austins will be in attendance. RPD is going to speak about what happened last time, as it will be the first GPW show for quite a while where he does not have the title in his grasp. We have Kemper against Rob Drake. Sam Gradwell, who made his return on the last show, takes on Brady Phillips, who their fights at South Pro were one of the the best feuds I'd seen early on in my early traveling days. So fans in Wigan are going to be treated there. We have a fast track 5-way where Isaac North, Tony Wright, Joey Hayes, Mickey Barnes, and Teddy Ray will all do battle. The GP Tag Trophy sees FML taking on Felmel. It's a tongue twister if there ever was one. As Melissa Face and Tom Felwell will look to try and get the tag trophy off the FML gang. For the GPW British Championship, Sonna Durson makes his first defense of the title as he takes on George Hunter. And in your main event, while my voice just about holds out, for the GPW heavyweight title, Sandy Beach will make his first defense of the title, hoping to defend it against Dylan Roberts with his manager, Isaiah Quinn. So we will not be having Quinn at Futureshock, unfortunately. But there's a lot. There's a lot to process looking at that card. So if you are in Wigan, or if you can't make Futureshock, or if there's any other shows that I have missed, this looks like a perfect show to go to. Equally, if you're in Stockport or Manchester, tickets I think are still available, or they should be, for the Futureshock show in Stockport. He says that because I have still not got my ticket, but I will tomorrow. Yeah, that is pretty much it for this episode. Have you any last thoughts, Miles, before we wrap this episode up?
No, just looking forward to another week of Graps TNT on Saturday. It's going to be fun. I still need to get my tickets for them 2 shows, but there was the pre-show match. So if TNT VIP, so if you get the VIP package, costs you a little bit extra. You get to see Lucian against Ty Archer, which will be a fun little opener. Always love a dark match. Like, who doesn't love an extra match? Can't complain. And I get to give Ty Archer more shit. So, fuck you, Ty. Piece of shit.
And said with feeling as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it for us on this episode. If you want to leave any feedback or drop a comment on X at least, I am on, I think it's Bradders Grappers on X while I try and make sure I'm saying the right thing, which is always helpful, not knowing your own socials. So it is Bradders Grappers, capital B, capital G. If you want to message me on my own account, it's Petter Bradders, capital B, capital B. I did say capital P. Yeah, just the capitals. What else have we got?
And the new podcast, X.
Yes. You can find this anyway. If you're on Spotify, you'll know this. If you want to possibly give a like and a comment on this show, I'd really appreciate it because I'm trying to see how many likes I get on this before I get the initial 1-star review somewhere down the line. So let's try and keep it going. I want to get to 5 months before I get someone saying this person has no clue what he's talking about. Which, in fairness, they would probably be accurate on that sense, because I don't have a clue what I'm talking about half the time. Other than that, thank you for listening. I don't have a witty outro. I only have witty intros. Though some people will argue that it's not even witty. But if you're there in Liverpool on Saturday, just say hi. I'll say hi back and look at you weirdly. If you're there in Stockport, I will be there. Hopefully, I haven't got my ticket, but I should be there at ringside. Fingers crossed. There's still tickets for ringside. Other than that, thank you for listening. If you are going to a show, enjoy it no matter where you are. But for now, at least, it's a goodbye from me, and it's a goodbye from Miles.
Yes, it is. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, and we will catch you on the next episode.